Here we are again. 4 o'clock. I got my live up. I'm good. So out here at home today, which is good. Got out early, came home, so I'm gonna do my live stream from the back deck. So anyway, it's nice. Man, I finally got some good weather. So anyway, we're gonna talk about beat the tariffs, right? Sell vintage products, make things in America. These are things that we're gonna end up doing, I think, as the tariffs come into play, and we have to deal with just higher prices on things, right? Being able to get the things that we use to make stuff. If a lot of it is coming from overseas, it's going to get more expensive for you. But if you're making things in America, for the most part, it's not going to be too bad, because really America does make a ton of things, right? And I talked about in many of my streams at this point that there's a lot of people out there that are always looking to buy, right? There's constantly people looking to buy, and the amount of people that are going to be looking as the price of foreign goods goes up is going to be even higher, so even if you don't necessarily make a ton of extra sales, you have a lot of eyeballs, right? A lot of exposure. I guess the ceiling for people that are looking for your goods is going to grow, right? And we know this because of what happened during COVID, right? We can look at COVID and we can look at how things played out, right? Like here on YouTube views just went through the roof, right? Because everyone was stuck at home and people were just looking for stuff to entertain them while they're stuck in their houses. And again, if the cost of goods from overseas goes up significantly, people are still going to be buying. Like this idea that no one's going to have any money, like I can tell you, that's not how it works. Yes, the overall sales probably go down just a little bit, but if you operate in a slightly higher margin, or not margin, a slightly higher priced good, like a luxury good, I'm always talking about that good, better, best. You're operating in that best tier. Your buyers don't necessarily go down when times get tough. So anyway, welcome to the channel. My name is Eric Wilkin, and we're going to talk about beating tariffs and making things in America, operating a business in America, an American-made business. Doing this with little to no education and just basically gutting it out and going hard. We have a furniture manufacturing company here in St. Louis, Missouri. We make furniture. We high gloss lacquer and paint furniture, and it's a good business, and it's a good middle class living. And some months it's amazing, other months it's horrible, but that's just kind of life. It's not always peaches and cream, as they say. So anyway, that's what we're talking about today. We're going to talk about beating tariffs, right? And I put down selling vintage goods, because that's kind of what happens when the cost of everything gets really expensive. The idea of, a lot of people call it used, or they'll call it secondhand and stuff like that. And truth is that people have been buying that stuff forever. I mean, since way back in the day. So there's all kinds of opportunities to sell wares to people, depending on what the markets are doing. So if the cost of things are going up that are being tariffed, right, and things like that, you can absolutely sell used goods. There's lots of people that want vintage furniture, and that's how we literally started this company. So I got more people coming in here. We'll kind of get to the comments here. We got Amir, Peyton. I don't know who you are. Good to meet you. Welcome to the stream. Everyone hit the like button and add a discussion. Let me know what you do, where you're at, and all those kind of things. And like I said, we're going to talk about tariffs and ways we can sell things in an environment where things are more expensive. And I'll talk about how we grew this company and how you guys can do it also. Because when things get really expensive and crazy stuff happens, there's always new opportunities. And that's the thing I'm always talking about. And I'm talking about as someone who, like I said, it hasn't been easy. I don't talk about how much you're making tons of money, because you don't. Like I said, it's middle class. It's not. You're probably not going to get rich unless you can scale your business way up, which I'll talk about in future streams, but it's really hard. And I can talk about how we scaled this business way up and lost gobs of money. Like, it was the worst decision we ever made to try and scale this thing up. So, okay, more people coming in. Did I ever tell you they look like Justin Bieber? No, not Justin Bieber. I was told Sick Boy from Trainspotting forever. That was because Trainspotting was the big movie. And is that drugged out Justin Bieber or young Justin Bieber? Because I hope it's young Justin Bieber. Anyway, okay, we got Freedom Fighter in here. Metal drugs are already expensive, but now it's, yeah, right. Okay, so we get the interesting people coming in. So if you got something to talk about, you want to talk about making things, you want to talk about where things are going, tariffs, all that kind of fun stuff, business, contribute to the conversation. We'll talk about those things. But anyway, so again, I titled this thing, beating tariffs. We don't even know if the tariffs are going to come into play. That's one of the big things. There's a lot of people freaking out, and everyone's telling you, you're going to end up working in a factory and you're going to hate it, and it's going to be horrible, and nobody wants manufacturing jobs in America, and everyone is fear-mongering you right now. You're seeing people talking about, the 401k, like 401k is a long-term thing, and they're acting like if it goes down for a week that everyone is, we're selling everybody out, by doing this tariff thing, and people would rather have a healthy 401k than American jobs, and it's just a lot of pitting people against each other, which is kind of goofy, but But you can, there's a lot of opportunity when things get really expensive. And again, the way that we started this business is literally by painting furniture. My wife started it in her 1.5 car garage in Creve Coeur here in St. Louis, and was just painting furniture, and then it grew a little bit too much, just painting vintage furniture. It grew a little too much, and she finally was able to move out into a larger space, and then kind of grew it from there, So you can grow a business just by painting furniture, right? Or painting whatever. Maybe you're going to paint kitchen cabinets. Maybe you're going to go into people's homes and paint things. Like, you can do that kind of a business. You don't have to have some master business idea and be some brilliant person. It can be done with just having a kind of an easy idea, a small idea, and you can grow it into something that is a decent living. So I hope that's kind of what over all these streams you guys are going to kind of understand, is that you don't have to have some master plan. And when you work for yourself, there's a lot of things that you can do when times get hard. You have a lot of flexibility in how you choose to spend your money, how you choose to pay yourself. There's just a lot of opportunities to do all kinds of things. But if you are working for somebody else, it's much more difficult to do all those things, So that's that kind of a side tangent. But anyway, so painting vintage furniture is literally how this company was started. But it just got too big for the little home that she was painting, and then we had to put it into a bigger shop. It went into a bigger shop, and then we went from painting furniture, which was it was a fine living. It wasn't terrible. My wife lived really well, and it was, again, a middle class living. But eventually got to a point where we're starting to do modifications, right? So that vintage furniture comes in, and you're putting bases on it. You're trading doors for drawers and drawers for doors. You're cutting the tops off of cabinets and making vanities out of them. We found that a lot of people will spend a lot of money taking like an old dresser and gutting the inside of it and taking the top off of it so they can put granite on it, and people put sinks and stuff in there and make vanities out of them. And that was a good way to make some extra money as well. It's really hard, but that's a good way. But the point is that there's a lot of opportunities with vintage furniture to make some money, especially when everything else gets really expensive. Vintage is a great alternative. But fast forward to where we were getting asked to make other kinds of pieces, right? Like vintage pieces. They were like, well, can you make that vintage piece taller, right? So then we'd make legs, and we'd make feet, and we'd make, different kinds of plinths and things to raise the height of old furniture. And it got to a point where I was like, well, we probably need to just remake this thing and or make you something new. And so we started making this, and then one piece led into where we were doing, maybe 90% of our work was vintage, to where, 70% of it is now just new furniture. Like, it just kind of flipped. And that's where you move into different revenue streams and different ways to make money. And again, all American made, right? So when we talk about the tariff thing, the vintage furniture is not going to be hit by tariffs. The paint doesn't get hit by tariffs. New furniture doesn't get hit by tariffs. Bloom hinges and slides, maybe a little bit, But anyway, so if those tariffs actually come in, which they probably won't, to be completely honest, but let's just say they do, a good way to make money would be to add value to vintage furniture. And there's tons of it out there right now. The market is actually really not consolidated. What's the word I'm looking for? The price on things has really come down quite a bit. We were paying like $1,000 for like faux bamboo 9-drawer dressers during the pandemic, and now I want to say it's down to like $400 or $500 maybe. So the prices come way down. So there's a lot of opportunity to add value and make some more money. So that's kind of a good thing, I think. So all right, we'll see what kind of comments we got in here now. All right, you're cute ASF, I assume. You like men too. Oh boy, here we go. Yeah, all you people are so funny. So I can never understand this, how you get some of these goofballs. They just come in and all they want to, like, what is it you're trying to do? Like, is this like, are you off today? Is it like you're waiting to go to work, or you have no job? Like, I can't figure it out. It blows my mind. So anyway, if you're in the stream, hit the like button, add to the discussion, and let me know where you're at and what you're doing. And anyway, so gonna beat these tariffs, and we're gonna beat the another one here's. I said, okay, don't know what that means either. So anyway, so doing the vintage furniture thing is going to be a good way to operate a business when times get a little bit harder, right? Because people are seeking value, and people see a lot of value in American-made products, especially old vintage products. It was a very good business before the pandemic. It was good during the pandemic, and it's been good after the pandemic. Which is which is again part of why I talk about this kind of stuff is there are ways to do this kind of vintage furniture game, and it's a great revenue stream. And you can then parlay that into where maybe you're making furniture, or maybe you're painting kitchen cabinets, or maybe you're going on site to homes and doing work. And let's just say that, let's take it a step further. Let's say that tariffs hit, the economy slows way down, everybody freaks out. If you can provide a service to somebody else, and you have a website, maybe just a little bit of advertising, there's the opportunity for you to make plenty of money, lots of money. Because again, during slow times, wealthy people are always spending money, and that's been our experience. I think before the pandemic, we were fairly busy. It was like a $50,000 a month kind of a thing. And then once the pandemic hit, everything went to zero, right? Which was very scary. But then everything quadrupled within 4 months, maybe 6 months. Then it just went from where your ceiling was maybe 50K in revenue to where your ceiling was 150 to 200, and it just kept going up and 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 up. And lots of people buying vintage furniture, lots of people buying new furniture. I mean, it was freaking wild. It was the wildest time, and the best education for a business owner that I think anyone could ever get, which is really cool. So the point is that people are always buying that vintage furniture because everybody sees so much value in it. And the cool thing about the pandemic, so here's another thing. When the pandemic was going on, we had all these supply chain issues, which is kind of similar to what we may have coming up should tariffs come in, right? It's going to be hard to get stuff from China because it's so damn expensive, or Indonesia, or Vietnam. It could be hard to get stuff from there, right? And it's the same thing during the pandemic. So people really gravitated towards the vintage furniture because it was available, right? Which was a big deal. It was fantastic that you could still source that stuff. You had to pay for it, but it was everywhere. And it was really easy to go send somebody to go pick that stuff up because there was no traffic, right? Everyone was staying home, so it was really cool. It could be difficult, with the whole human exchange thing, but for the most part, people were still selling furniture. And my guess is that during a tariff type situation, you're still going to have a ton of people wanting that vintage furniture because, like I was telling you guys, everybody is always buying. Wealthy people are always buying, so if you can service that best kind of tier of customers, it's fantastic, so that's just one thing. I'm gonna move my camera in here, guys. It's kind of bright. I was trying to get outside where it'd be a little bit nicer. It's just man, we got awesome weather today. I thought it'd be a good day to come out here, chat on the stream, drink a beer, and talk business, right? So anyway, so that's what we got going on. We're going to talk about tariffs and all this kind of thing. So my name's Eric Wilkin, owner of Splendid Crow, and doing all these streams talking about business. On Fridays, we go through our shop and we look at all the pretty furniture. We look at the things we made. We look at the stuff that went well during the week, the stuff that was horrible during the week. And we're just going to continue to do these streams. I'm trying to add a stream 4 o'clock on most days to just kind of talk about current events related to furniture, related to the business of furniture, of painting furniture, and all these kind of things, and just talk about what we're seeing in my industry with the prices of things. And if tariffs are to come into play, which again, I don't think that they will, but man, you never know. Everyone's kind of freaking out about it. But like I was telling you guys, I've told you guys almost every time I've done one of these streams, none of the reps have showed up to say, hey guys, we're going to raise your prices, or hey, we got to tack on 5% like they did, a couple times a year during COVID. They would come in, hey, we got to raise your prices. The vendors would call you, hey, you know what? I know you buy plywood from us, but we got to raise our prices 7%, starting January 1st. And again, we're not getting any of those calls. So I got a buddy who owns a t-shirt company, does thousands of t-shirts a month. I mean, just tons of freaking t-shirts. And he was told that the conversation about tariffs will start on June 1st. Right, and he's buying, like I said, I don't know how many t-shirts. This guy's probably does 1 million t-shirts a year. It's insane how many shirts this guy goes through. Massive factory, and they do lots of screen printing and fantastic business, but good people. But anyway, they're not seeing anything either. Their vendors, they're all in China. All the t-shirts are all made in China, and I said he's not hearing anything until they were told June 1st. So I don't know if that helps people. That's some good information for people, but that's kind of what they're hearing. And then I've got other buddies that also are in the furniture game, and they're not hearing anything either, So I think everybody is really in a wait and see kind of mentality. Everyone's just kind of kicking back and just waiting to see what's going to happen. But if you make an American product, which we titled this thing, what was it? We titled it, I can't remember what I titled this thing. It's I think it was Beat Inflation, right? Or Beat Tariffs, make American products, sell vintage products. unfortunately, that's how you're going to have to do it, you know. And if we got people in here that are making their products by just sourcing them overseas and then bringing here to America and then just reselling them, you know, I think, man, y'all are going to struggle. Like it's not a terrible way to make money. You know, it's good if you can do it, but I mean, really, do we want a bunch of people just, you know, hooking up with companies and then going over to factory in another country, producing a product and then bringing it back here and then marking it up 100%, 200%, and then selling it? You know, like I don't know if that's really the best way to operate, but I mean, maybe it is. I mean, hell, I don't know. I personally am not a big fan of that. But we got a lot of people that are just crying about this. You know, you hear about all over the news. You know, they always put the person that has all their operations in some foreign country, and this tariff is going to destroy their business, right? It's going to destroy their product, and they never put anybody that makes an American product. Like you never see anybody. There's nobody on television right now that's talking about, oh, well, this is actually going to be good for me, you know, or maybe this isn't going to be so bad, or there's none of that, you know. And the truth is that I'm one of those people. Like, I don't think it's going to be bad for my business, you know. Maybe some of my customers might not like it, you know, but I don't think it's going to affect my business, you know. And I was talking to my shipper. My shipper goes all over the country and is just constantly talking to people, wealthy people, you know, and he thinks we're going to do great also, you know. So I don't know. I hope this helps people, just like kind of let people kind of know what's going on in our particular industry, you know, which is basically fine furniture. It's all good, you know, so we're not too worried at this point. Okay, we got someone in here. It says 44 back. I subbed. Okay, that's what you say. I appreciate it, guys. Yeah, thanks. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, all that kind of stuff, and just add to the discussion. And again, I don't know what everybody does, and it seems to me like there's a lot of people that come in here, they just want to hear a perspective. They just want to hear someone, you know, BS, basically, and that's cool. Like, I'm happy to talk about it, but I do want to grow this channel. My point is to grow this channel and just talk about the furniture thing. I got a ton of videos on modernwoodorder.com, the YouTube page, sorry. Lots of videos on how to make all kinds of stuff. The furniture that we make here in St. Louis, I've got videos on how to make a lot of it. Not all of it, but a lot of it. So I show people how to do it as well. Like, I'm not worried about somebody going and making my furniture and trying to sell it, you know, to my customers. I'm not worried about it one bit. There's plenty of pie for everyone. But yeah, so I got that kind of stuff on there. If you want to learn how to paint, you want to learn how to fix lacquer imperfections, you want to learn how to wet sand and polish, like all that stuff's on there, and it's good content. You know, it's just me kind of showing people how I do it and how I learned how to do it, and this is what we do every day. That's another thing. Oh, hold on, let's go through one more comment here. We got a couple more. Sorry, I got the light, guys. Let's see. Are you schizophrenic? No, I don't think so, but sounds about right. Okay, nobody buys furniture that only have it for show. Nobody buys furniture. Well, okay, that's cool. I appreciate the comment. Okay, so let's dig into that. All right, so this is, sorry guys, see if I can get you in this is sorry, oh man, my screen is so dark. Sorry guys, the sun is just amazingly bright. We got the nice river in the back, you know, so it's good. Okay, so nobody buys furniture that doesn't use. Okay, well, I don't think you believe that. I think you know for a fact that isn't true. The truth is that, so my furniture is fairly temperamental. The furniture is built to last forever, but the finish is quite finicky, and lacquer is quite delicate, and it can scratch easily, and it's gotten better over the years, but you're just not going to get something that has the brightness, the shine, and the wow factor. Like, nobody walks into a house and looks at a piece of stained furniture. I don't care what it's stained out of. It's, you know, zebra wood, you know, waterfall, babinga, whatever it is, you know, flame mahogany. Nobody looks at that and goes, holy shit, that's amazing. You know, even guys are like, man, that's kind of nice, you know. But I guarantee that anybody walks into a room that's got one of my pieces of furniture that's in some kind of bright orange or bright yellow color, looks like Skittles basically, everyone goes, whoa, where'd you get that? What is that? How do I get one of those? Who made that? The question is, just start feeling, where do you get something like that? What is that? And it's just like when you see, I don't know, pick whatever car you like. You know, if you like Lamborghinis, you know, when you see a Lamborghini, they're usually some kind of a crazy color, you know, and everyone goes, you know, they get the rubbernecking, as they call it. You know, it's the same thing with our furniture, you know. And again, people might disagree with me, but that's the way it is, you know. And most of our clients are going to be women, and they love that shiny stuff, just like they like those blingy diamonds. You know, you can't get enough of it. It's a thing, you know. And I had no idea, until my wife kind of, explained it all to me and showed me how all this stuff works. And yeah, so there's a lot of my customers, they'll buy, well, we'll talk about different product lines. Okay. So I've got two, we'll say three product lines. Okay. Let's talk about all of them. Okay. We sell vintage furniture, right? And that vintage furniture you can buy on our website, but then we're going to paint it. We're going to put hardware on it, and then we're going to send it to your house, and we'll send it. Someone will deliver it into your home. It's a nice experience. Okay. The other product is we will take your furniture, right? So I'm in St. Louis, Missouri. Say you're out in, whatever, Los Angeles, California. We will send our shipper out there on his next trip out that way. They'll pick up your furniture. We'll bring it back to St. Louis. We will fix it up. We'll paint it. We'll put, the hardware on. We'll do modifications to it, new lights, whatever it is you want, new glass. And then we ship it back out there to Los Angeles. So that's the second product line. The third product line is new furniture, right? So we have production-based furniture and this is furniture that we make over and over again, right? These are standard sizes, and then we sell plenty of that stuff. I probably sell 50 of my X vanities every year. We sell 50 credenzas, and we might sell 50 of another kind of vanity. And we have certain there's maybe 6 pieces of furniture in constant rotation. And so we sell those. And then the last thing is, of course, custom furniture, right? So we do lots of custom work for people. And mostly we're known for painting furniture, but we also do stain furniture. We do, right now we're doing walnut sideboards. We got a mahogany, 96-inch mahogany sideboard coming up. We're doing like neoclassical dining tables and foyer tables and all kinds of stuff. So we have all these different kinds of revenue streams, and it's a fantastic way to make money. Like I said, it's a crap ton of work, but it's a fantastic way to make money, and most of this furniture is for show. The clients will take, say, my china cabinet. I'm getting ready to drop a video of how I make my what's called Athens Greek key china cabinet. And the truth is that china cabinet, it's kind of for show. It's a little bit on the fragile side, but it's just littered with glass and beautiful fretwork, and it'll be painted some kind of gorgeous color and have beautiful Greek key hardware on it. And a person, odds are they're going to put some china in there, or they'll put some pictures or whatever they want to put in there, and then it'll stay for a year. Nobody will touch it. 2 years. Nobody will touch it. And they'll leave it there. And if they do touch it and they use it a ton, you'll get a little bit of wear and tear on there. And all the hinges on that particular piece, they're all made of solid brass. So they're the finest quality, hinges that there are, the finest quality paints, the finest quality craftsmanship. And a lot of people, they do just kind of leave it, and it's basically just for pictures. It's just for when their friends walk in and just want to look at it. It's like when you buy a supercar kind of, they call them garage queens. They kind of just set in your garage. That's kind of what our furniture is. So I don't know if people can relate to that, but that's honestly what it is. All right, more comments. We're gonna go through. So I got this thing up here. It's hard to see. It's so dang bright out here. All right, nobody buys furniture. They only have for show. Yep. So we talked about that one. I appreciate your comment. All right, then we got, see the next one. It is only me who likes unpolished wood. Okay, hilarious. All right, then we got Laura here. Okay, give this guy a break. This chat is full of Debbie Downers. I know everything's Debbie Downers. Ventures is much better quality. I go state sales, and I've seen better furniture in the stores. Yeah, and that's part of why I do these conversations. Is vintage furniture quality is unparalleled, and America has had a storied furniture industry for since the founding of the country, and before. People making furniture forever, and it's a great way to make a living. And the great thing about furniture, whether you sell vintage furniture or you make new furniture, is the barrier to entry is so low, and that's one of the things that I think has really plagued our country for about the last 20 or 30 years, ever since NAFTA. Right? It's like you have this massive consolidation of industries. There used to be a ton of furniture makers, and a lot of them got bought out by different kinds of companies. There's a lot of conglomerate companies out there. Drexel got bought up. Henredon got bought up. I'm trying to think who the other ones are, like Mastercraft. I don't think they're in business anymore. And a lot of these companies, they've been bought up and they disappear, and their products get blended into these other products, and then you end up with what we call a homogenized kind of furniture, where all the furniture basically looks the same. And that's kind of what we have going on right now. That's why people really like vintage furniture, is because it was all so unique. There were so many different styles because there were so many manufacturers, because we made furniture, right? We made tons of furniture. And then at some point, somebody said, well, we don't want to make furniture. We don't want to work with our hands. People that work with their hands are losers. We want all those people to go to school, right? Learn to code. We heard all of these things, go get a degree, be somebody. And all that work went away. And now, everyone works as a waiter with $100,000 in student loan debt, or you're some kind of a middle manager, hates your job. And I don't know. That's how I see it. But yeah, I mean, vintage furniture, the quality is amazing. And one of the things that we do at the Resplendent Crow is we make furniture just like the old furniture. So you'll notice that a lot of new furniture, if you look at the interior of say a dresser, the interior on a lot of dressers nowadays is it's just going to be a carcass, right? Your end panels, your top, your base, and then you're going to have some kind of a mid panel, and then you'll have some like maybe 3 or 4 inch runners that segregate each one of the drawers, right? And that's kind of what you end up with. The way they did it back in the day is those 3 or 4 inch runners would be entire framing panels, right? So the framing panel would go from the front of the cabinet all the way to the back of the cabinet, and it would have a solid frame with a panel in the middle. It's called a framing panel. And these are the guts of new furniture. And one of the reasons you don't see a lot of companies doing frame and panel construction anymore is because you can't CNC cut them. So if you can't CNC cut a part on a piece of furniture, a lot of companies won't even make it. Or things need to be flat packed, right? Which again means you have to be able to cut all the parts on a CNC router. You have to be able to run them through an edge bander. Like these are the 2 tools of the modern furniture maker. That and some kind of a CAD, right? SketchUp's real popular these days. Everyone's using freaking SketchUp. So anyway, it's just the furniture industry has changed so much that it's so easy to make a high quality piece of furniture today. It's never been easier because there's so much shit out there. And unfortunately, a lot of people today don't even know what makes a good piece of furniture. Their standards have been set so low that they actually think that a piece of furniture should be wobbly, right? If a piece of furniture breaks when you're moving it, or the top comes off, it's like, man, I'll just glue it back together, or I'll just, screw the cam back down. Everyone's got those the stud and the cam thing. It's like, hey, they don't realize that furniture shouldn't do that. And that's one of the things we've kind of gotten away from. It's like we'd rather have, $1,000 iPhones and, cheap televisions than to save up to buy something of quality, which is what we used to do, right? And that's one of the reasons that we used to know how to fix things, and we used to know how to repair things, and we used to know how to work with our hands, because we wanted to be able to fix whatever it was that we bought, because we spent a lot of money on it. It took a lot of hours to be able to purchase that good, and you wanted to make sure that good was going to last a very long time. And now we don't even think about it. Things are so cheap. How many of you guys have been looking for something around the house, and then you're like, fuck it, and you just order it on Amazon because you know that it's going to show up the next day, rather than trying to go look around the house? Like, I don't know how many times I've done that. And that's where we're at today, So anyway, yeah, you can order a piece of furniture, cheap furniture, for whatever, $500, say. It'll show up the next day in a box, and then you can put it all together. It's cheap. It shows up, and you can have it put up in, 4 or 5 hours. Whereas you come to me, I'm going to charge you $7,000 for credentials. I'm going to make you it's going to take you 10 weeks to get it, so more expensive, longer to get, or you can have dirt cheap and you can have it right away. And that's kind of how people look at it. They don't see the quality side of it too much. It's not really a big thing for them. And tariffs are going to help change that, if those tariffs come into play. So, all right, let's go through a few more of these comments, and we'll kind of keep talking. Okay, let's see here. So it's easy to make high quality furniture. Yeah, it is, and you can do it in your garage, right? And that's the thing. Like, it's you gotta know who you're competing against, And again, I always talk about this good, better, best thing, right? You can compete in all these different tiers. So good is going to be that $500 credenza that I was just talking about, right? It shows up in the mail. It weighs 60 pounds. You put all the cams and the studs together, and you put the hinges on with your little screwdriver that probably comes with it, and it's cheap, shows up right away. And then you can operate in kind of the better category, which means maybe you go to Ashley Furniture, right? And you go to, I think everyone knows what Ashley Furniture is. I'm trying to think of another one. I venture to say IKEA, but I don't really consider IKEA to be that. They're kind of still the lower tier. But anyway, you go to Ashley's, and maybe it's a piece of furniture that's made, but it's made over in Vietnam. Vietnam is the up and coming largest furniture manufacturer in the world. They are Restoration Hardware is using Williams Sonoma, which owns, I think they own Pottery Barn and Crate and Barrel and all these kind of companies. That's where all their shit's made, right? So that's kind of your mid tier. you're going to pay $4,000 or $5,000 for a piece of furniture from one of those places, right? It probably costs them, they're probably all in $1,000 on that piece of furniture. So they're upcharging it 2.5 times, 2.5 times, which is kind of how the resale game works. So quick little back end business for you guys. The way it works, and I know this because we buy lamps, we buy mirrors, we buy all kind of what we call like tchotchkes and smalls. We buy a lot of stuff, and you can't sell it unless you're going to mark it up 2 to 2.5 times in most cases, right? So if I buy something for $100, the odds are the MSRP is going to be $300 to $400 depending on what the product is. And in some cases it could be higher, some cases it could be lower, but that's kind of like the general rule of thumb. So as the retail customer who's coming in and buying that thing, you're paying 2.5 times what the person you're buying it from paid for, right? Because they got to pay for rent and they got to pay for whatever, employees and insurance and all the rigmarole of having a brick and mortar business or operating a business. So that's kind of how that kind of stuff works. With the Ashley Furniture, yeah, you're paying. You're going to pay a couple $1,000 probably. And again, they got it from Vietnam. They've probably paid, like I said, $1,000 for it. You're paying $2,000 to $3,000 when you buy it from them. And it's going to last a long time. It's going to be a good piece of furniture. And odds are you won't even know that it's not high quality. It could have frame and panel construction. It could have nice joinery, all those things, right? But it's not going to be made of American wood. That's the one thing. It's never going to be made of, well, I shouldn't say never, but likely it's not going to be made of real maple. It's not going to be made of real walnut, real mahogany, any of these real woods that we kind of associate with high quality here in America, right? So that's kind of your mid tier. The high tier is where we operate, right? We're not going to make anything for under $3,000. Nothing. I won't make you a nightstand. I won't make you a vanity because it's too expensive to do that here in America. And that's one of the things that we're really competing against with all these foreign countries. The whole tariff discussion is happening right now because in order for me to make you a vanity, or no, we'll just say a nightstand, okay? In order for me to make you a nightstand, the minimum I'm going to charge is $3,000 because, we have labor law here. We have transportation law. Like I can't just ship something, right? You have to have insurance. You got to have your vehicle tagged properly. You got to have all the right MOT stuff. There's rules to every part of the game. Like when we hire people, we have to be careful how we hire people, who we hire. In order to hire people, you have to have insurance, right? People won't rent to you without insurance. Anyway, this stuff just stacks and stacks and stacks. If you want to have a building, you have to be OSHA compliant. And the normie person says, well, of course you got to be OSHA compliant, except there's a cost to that. And especially as your building gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and same EPA, in order to paint furniture, it's not, you don't just, whip out your paint gun and start spraying paint all over the place. Like it's very difficult. You have to have specific, different kinds of extinguishing systems. Are called halon systems. City has to come in and buy off on your stuff. Odds are the county's got to come in and buy off on it. You got to have the fire department come in regularly. And there's rules. Okay, when you go to another country, none of that stuff exists. And if it does exist, it's not your responsibility. It's somebody else's responsibility. You're just getting the end product. You're absolved of all that stuff. So when everyone talks about, we want safe air, we want safe drinking water, and we want people to be paid a minimum wage, we put all of these layers of complexity and requirements on making things here in America. But then the people that have the big companies that have consolidated all the businesses, they just do it all overseas and they don't have to deal with any of it, right? So they're actually keeping their competition at bay by putting all the regulation in place here in America. And tariffs are going to open up this conversation. And people are going to realize, like, hey, why do you have to charge so much money to make a nightstand? And then I explain this to you, and then you kind of have two choices. You can be mad at me and say, well, that's bullshit. You're making too much money. And if you watch my videos, like I'm not rich. I don't make a ton of money. I'm a middle-class guy, Or you could say, hey, corporate America, why are you putting why is there 80,000 pages of federal regulations? Why do we need all that regulation? Because what's the regulations over in China? Like I want to see their code of federal regulations, and odds are they don't have one. So anyway, I hope this helps. I feel like this is good information for people. Especially as things get really expensive. You're going to have the opportunity not just the opportunity, you're going to be forced to look at alternatives to purchase things, and if you are one of these people that has a business or just has an idea, if you can get a web page and you can make something, put that thing on your web page, maybe pay a little bit in advertising, and even like Facebook Marketplace, if you want to start there, you're a little shy, you can do that. And you're going to be there when things get a little bit more difficult. You know, it's like the people that were on YouTube right before COVID hit, they just got bigger, right? Because they were already putting that content on YouTube. And then when everyone got stuck at home, what do you think happened to all their views? Like, these people made out like bandits. So anyway, okay, I'll go through more comments. All right, one more sip here. We're doing the blue moon today. It's been Modelo the last couple days because I was at work, but I'm at home. I got the blue moon at home. I love blue moon. Okay, more stuff coming in here. Okay, let's see here. It's easy to make high quality furniture. Let me elaborate on that one more time. And I'll go through some more comments. Okay, so when I say, I think I went off on a tangent there. So who is this? I want to make sure I get your name. So this is MPG Websites. MPG Websites. Okay. Well, thanks for hitting the stream, guys. Hit the like button, add to the comments. You know, make sure we get the likes going on. It's good for the algorithm. And I'm going to talk about being easy to make high quality furniture. I'll show you why the barrier to entry is super low, and I'm going to tell you guys exactly what I did for the last 20 years. And you can do the same thing. The goal for this channel, the long-term goal, I should say, guys, is I want to get this thing to where it's going to be monetized, right? Obviously. But what I want to do is I want to open up a subscriber page, right? So I can talk about the back end of furniture, the back end of paint, right? And this is things like purchase orders and, you know, profit and loss statements, you know, legal battles. What else? You know, we can talk about, you know, MOT regulations, and we can talk about all the back end stuff of making a business, you know, vendors, preferred vendors, you know, crappy vendors, all these kind of things that are more geared towards people that really want to do this. And it gets out some of the fluff from the comments, right? Where you get a lot of people that just want to make like weird comments, and I don't know what these people are doing here for. But again, you open it up, it's like 99 cents a month, and like that's really where I want to go with this. And then I can post content just, again, about running a business, you know, and I would like to be able to help people to grow these things and do their own thing, whether that's, you know, coming out to St. Louis where I'm at, or going to wherever you're at, Tennessee, North Carolina, whatever, Florida, those kind of things, and just helping with those kind of things. Because it is hard, but it's not that hard, okay? So, and let's talk about furniture making. So the question was, is it easy to make high quality furniture? Okay, now what I talked about a minute ago was good, better, best, and I was kind of going through what makes good, what makes best, and what makes good, what makes better, and what makes best. And there's all these things, okay? So if you're one of these people that is in a garage, right, and you inevitably always get the person that says, well, I don't have a garage. Okay, it's like, I can't talk to you. Like, I can't solve everyone's problems, okay? But if you do have a garage, if you have a space to work, you can acquire some tools. And these tools can be purchased very cheaply. And here's the thing that I don't like about YouTube, all right? All these people on YouTube, like you do woodworking, how to start a woodworking business, you've got these people that are giving you their view on how to start a woodworking business. But if you look at how they make money, they don't make their money, you know, making furniture. You know, that Bourbon Moth guy, like, go on his webpage. He sells no furniture. You know, he's selling advertising, he's selling sponsorships, and he's selling things like knives, I noticed, like coffee cups, t-shirts, you know, I'm sure he's selling boner pills and all the other stuff. Like, there's no furniture. You can't go anywhere and buy this guy's furniture. If you go on the resplendentcrow.com, you're gonna see hundreds of pieces of furniture that we sell or we make. And if you order it today, it will show up at your house in 2 to 10 weeks, depending on what you order. You know, like, I just sell furniture. I make furniture. I have to, you know, employ people to paint, to put furniture together, to sand, to deliver, you know, to do sales, to do marketing. And this is what we need in America, right? We don't need people talking about how to start a business and come to find out they don't make any fucking furniture. You know, this is why I put this channel together. I want people to know that there are people that really do run these businesses, and they make furniture, and that's what they do. They make the same things over and over again, and that's okay. It's not exactly the most entertaining content in the world, but it's the reality of the situation, right? There's another guy who's real popular, who's the Blacktail Studios guy. Like, that guy's freaking awesome. Like, that's who you guys need to be watching. If you want to know the kind of the back end of what it's like to really run a company, like, I think that guy really is the closest thing that I've seen. You know, there's another guy, he's like some Steve guy. He's one of the real popular ones, but same deal. He's got this little shop in his backyard. He makes just tons of videos on making little junk things, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But you're not going to become a woodworker and run a woodworking company. You're going to become a content creator. You know, you could be a woodworker that makes content, you know, and that's cool. Like, do that. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you start talking about insurance and all the different kinds of laws and bullshit that you have to deal with in order to run a company or a factory, it's very different, you know. So that's what I want to do with this channel if I can. All right, so the making quality furniture. So again, you have a little space. You get those tools. You need a table saw. You need a router. you need some kind of a an oscillating sander. Hopefully, something like a Festool or a Mirka, something that's of high quality, and I can go to that later. But you get these basic tools, and now you're cutting out sheet goods. You can router all different kinds of shapes. And the last thing you need, obviously, is a planer and a joiner, right? Because you have to be able to make what are called framing panels. And this is almost the only thing that you need to know, is you need to put framing panels in everything that you build, right? I got a video on my YouTube page. It's literally called like framing panels. It talks about what they are, why they're so important. And if you want to go from being good, better, and immediately to best, that's the thing you need to do, and that's it. That's all you need to do, make your end panels out of plywood, make all your legs out of hardwoods, whether that's cherry wood, whether that's walnut, maple, whatever. Yeah, avoid maple. Maple's overrated. That stuff's so damn hard, and it just twists and turns and does all kinds of things. But anyway, yeah, the framing panel is the thing that you need to do. Make all your legs out of solid hardwoods. Make all your end panels out of good quality plywoods. Avoid that UV coated shit that's super light. You want something that has some weight to it. Avoid MDF at all cost. Avoid particle board at all cost. These are the two products that you're going to see in everything. Your high-end manufacturers, somebody made a comment about vintage furniture being amazing, and it is. But one of the things people don't know about vintage furniture, and I know it because I have 200 pieces in my shop right now. We go through hundreds of them every year. The thing is that it's all made of particle board. Whether you're talking Hendredon, America to Martinsville, Bassett, Dixie, whoever it might be, Drexel, all of these companies, they all use particle board and they veneer it. That's what your end panels are made out of every time. Your backs are always made out of some kind of 3/16 plywood, or it's going to be some kind of masonite material. You very rarely see MDF because MDF wasn't prominent back then, but they used a lot of masonite and a lot of 3/16 plywood, and the plywood was shit. The stuff we have now is so much better. So these are the kind of things you would see in vintage furniture that made it so good. So if you want to make good quality furniture in your garage today, learn about framing panels, plywood on your end panels. For your tops, you can get away with using plywoods for your tops. Veneer it the way you want to veneer it. Wrap it with hardwood. Don't wrap it with edge banding. Wrap it with hardwood. So get your plywood, and you can buy plywood that is already that already has a veneer on it, like your walnut plies or whatever. That's perfectly acceptable. But then edge band it with walnut, right? And then put some kind of a decorative detail, or maybe break it with an 1/8" radius bit, and that's really all you got to do. But avoid the particle boards and avoid the MDFs and avoid the temptation to make your carcass hollow. Avoid that temptation, and you immediately jump into the high quality side, right? And you have to sell it. You got to talk about it. And this is the thing that I think a lot of people, especially when they start out, they don't have any hubris, right? Everyone's afraid of it's called imposter syndrome. At some point you got to break out of that, and you got to be willing to say, like, I make the best fucking furniture that there is. I make the finest furniture. I will take the furniture challenge with anybody. And you have to be able to do that a little bit. Confidence goes a long way in selling your product and talking about how great your product is. So I hope that answers your question. I know that was really long, but I'm a big proponent of making really high quality stuff, and you don't need a ton of tools to do it. You can, the first table saw I ever bought, I had a 1.5 car garage in Wichita, Kansas, and I had a Jet contractor saw, and we actually bought it from Home Depot of all places. Jet contractor saw. That's what and then after that, when I moved to my next house a couple of years later, I had a rigid table saw. People remember these saws. Remember they had granite tops on them. Granite tops were a thing for a little bit on table saws, and it was awesome. I could write anything. The motor was fantastic. I didn't chip the top like a lot of people did, but again, these are 110 horse motors. These aren't your 3 horsepower, 220 single phase motors. These are basic motors, and it worked fine. I did entire houses of plantation shutters on that rigid table saw. So you can buy cheaper tools that are going to work really well. You're going to spend a little more time running stuff, no doubt about it. But you can buy a really good blade. Everest is a great company. Everyone always talks about, I think, Forester or whatever the hell people are always hawking. Everest is great. Their blade's like $75 a pop. But do that. You can get a good sander. Buy a used Festool sander, 6-inch sander. You can find them online, $250, something like that. And again, find a nice used planer, a nice used joiner. And like I said, you can do this in your shop or in your garage for like $3,000. you know, and get some sheet goods, find a distributor that sells hardwoods, and you can start making furniture. And everyone today talks about making tables, and I'm all for making tables. But what I find is, like, if you get on Facebook right now or you get on Instagram, you got these people advertising how to start a woodworking business, make tables, you know, and you know the people that are, you know, I grew my woodworking business from $0 to $7 million in, you know, 7 days, and it's ridiculous. Like, it doesn't work that way. These people, if you said to any of these people, okay, well, what guarantee do I have that any of this is going to work? They're not going to give you one. They're not going to give you anything. So be very leery of that kind of stuff. But you can absolutely do it. Okay. So all right, I'm gonna go through more comments. I got to stop spieling here. All right, let's see. We're going to go through here. I appreciate everyone showing up. Again, hit the like button, add to the discussion, and we're talking about furniture. We're talking about making American products, and if tariffs do come into play, the people that can do this kind of stuff are going to fare much better than the people that are not doing it, right? People are going to be scrambling to get products from overseas made here or to countries that have lesser tariffs, right? That's going to be what they're working on. If you're an American maker of anything, you're not going to be doing any of that shit. You know, you're just going to be focusing on selling furniture. So while they're worrying about, you know, moving products around and finding new vendors and freaking out, you're just going to be like, yeah, I'm still here. I'm making this. I'm making that. You know, oh, how can I help you? You know, oh, here, do some advertising where all your stuff's made in America. You know, I'm a no tariff company. Like, I will put ads out there like that. You know, like I can stoop that low. You know, I've got one running right now. If you get on, you can Google the Resplendent Crow on Facebook, you'll see it. American made furniture, made in the USA. And I'm just going through all the furniture that we make, and it's a good ad. It's got like, I don't know, like 20, I think last I saw it was like 25,000 hits, you know, so that was a pretty good one. People like American made furniture. They like to know that your product is made in America, whether it's vintage furniture or new furniture, whether it's vintage couches, new couches, whatever. They want to buy from an American company, believe me, but you got to put yourself out there. Okay. I got to stop on that. I love American made furniture, guys, in case you haven't picked up on that. All right. So, all right, see. I only compete with what I was yesterday. You know, I think that's, I mean, I think that's all anybody can do, right? I mean, you can only do better than where you were yesterday, right? It's really important, though, I think it's really important to look at your competition. I really do. If all you do is compete against yourself, you're going to lose sight of where you're at, you know? So a lot of people can blow smoke up their ass. They can think that they're better than they are, and it's good to have a good view of where everyone is in your particular whatever it is you're trying to do. That way you kind of have an idea where you sit and things, and it's hard to know where you can go, you know, if you don't really understand where you've been or where you're currently at, you know. So but yeah, I get with what you're saying there. And that is that's ZFam. Cool, man. Thanks for coming in here and adding to the discussion. And again, guys, hit the like button. And we're gonna keep talking here. So I got another 13 minutes at least, but I'm home. I got beer. I'm just ready to shoot the shit with people. So, okay, next comments. All right, lots of red tape comes with expansion. Yeah. So I mean, you guys want me to tell you my expansion story? I mean, I can tell that one. That's a heartbreaking story, to be quite honest with you. I don't know. Like, someone hit the like button. You know, you want me to tell the expansion story? I expanded from, let's see here, about 3,000 square feet to 20,000 square feet in about, I don't know, 3 to 4 months. That's an expansion, all right? That was insane. I could tell a story. Someone hit the like button and I'll do it. Okay, right, next comment. Let's see here. We got, especially in the States. Yep. Yeah, everything is more difficult in America, which is why most people sent their stuff overseas, right? You got a lot of people went to college, and they were taught that that's what you do. They're taught that, you know, you only have what's called a fiduciary responsibility to the people that invest in your company. They're the only people that matter, you know. And the truth is, the only people that matter are your employees and your customers. That's it. And I don't like what these people have done. They've just outsourced everything. You know, it's a bad deal. Okay, okay, we got CM here. Do you think corporate America will change considering their investment in the current administration? All right, CM, I'm gonna read your comment one more time. Do you think corporate America will change considering their investment in the current administration? So my question to you would be, like, what is this investment in the current administration that you're talking about? Because this has been going on for 30 years. I mean, if we're talking about, I mean, this topic is kind of, we're talking about tariffs. We're talking about, you know, American products and things like that. Most corporations aren't making their stuff here in America. So what are you saying that the people that have invested in this administration are all looking to outsource their products? Because it sounds like that's the exact opposite of what's going on. So I don't know if I'm quite following exactly what you're saying, but it sounds to me like the people that have I mean, if you're talking about Apple, like Apple obviously got a carve out, which is complete bullshit. I mean, that's criminal. I'm so frustrated by that because that shouldn't happen. So I'm not quite sure exactly what you're saying there, but you can feel to elaborate, and I'll try to talk more about. Okay, we got Laura. Another comment from her. Let's see. Corporate America will not change. It's the nature of corporate organizations. They have to answer to stockholders and make money. Yeah. No, I don't disagree with you one bit. I don't disagree one bit. And I mean, if we look at any industry today, they've all been consolidated. Everything's been consolidated. I mean, you hear about I used to work for a company called Gulfstream Aerospace, who's owned by the parent company is General Dynamics, which is one of the largest arms manufacturers in the world. And the truth is that, those guys, I mean, what are we gonna do? We used to have something like, it was like 44 defense contractors, and I think now we're down to like 7. You can't tell me that's good for anything. And it's the same thing with any industry. Okay, we're talking about furniture. Okay, like earlier in the cast today, I went through. There were so many furniture companies back in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, and most of them are gone now. Right? They've been absorbed into some collection of 5 companies in North Carolina. It's like they've all been bought up, or they went out of business, and the IP has been bought up by one of these companies. And now, I mean, instead of having 1,000 different furniture makers that all had 10,000 square feet like I do, we've got 10 furniture companies that have 250,000 square feet. You can't tell me that's good. It's not. But investors go where the money's at, and as all these companies consolidate, they all gravitate towards the same thing. And then when it comes time to make sure that you're taking care of your shareholders, the first thing you do is you cut staff, right? You try and cut costs. They never say staff. You cut costs, right? Because you gotta keep profits high, and it is what it is, And so basically, if the new administration comes in and says, we're going to start tariffing all the stuff that's made overseas, those people are going to be pissed. but the truth is, they'll figure it out. They'll if there's one thing good about large corporations, is that they're very creative when they have to be, and they're very maneuverable when they have to be. But the truth is, they don't want to be, right? They're always saying, we want predictability, right? We want to know what the rules of the road are. The truth is they create the rules, and they create the the certainty that they're always looking for, by making it so hard for other people to get into those businesses. I mean, Elon Musk is the best example. You guys can Google this. Elon Musk didn't want to, when he was going to make cars, he didn't want to have dealerships. He's like, why would I have a dealership? Dealerships are ridiculous. You just buy my car online, show up, pick it up, and drive off. And that's what he did. But he got sued left and right by the Automobile Dealers Association or something like that. They sued this guy up and down because they were terrified of him not having dealerships, because that's a cost to everybody else, right? The truth is that these automotive companies, they have to work with dealers, and they're always working on incentive programs and payment programs to get people in these dealerships to take what are called allocations of automobiles, and then to turn them over and sell them. They get rebates from the auto manufacturers to sell these products depending on what needs to move. Because the automotive companies, their job is just to make cars. It's not to sell cars. It's the dealership's job to sell cars. And Elon's like, well, I don't want to have a dealership. I'm just going to sell the cars too. And they basically just sued him over, like, saying that that's a competitive disadvantage for them. And when really it's just, they just want to keep doing things the same way. They want predictability. They don't want someone to come in and distort the market, so to speak. So anyway, that's another side thing. But yeah, what are we going to do? The only thing that we can do is to start companies and grow these things, and that's all we can do. And again, part of the cast and the stream is just to show people, like, you can do it. Like, it's not easy, and you're not going to get rich, and there's probably something else you could go do to make more money. But I don't know if you're going to do something that feels as good, that's as fulfilling and rewarding as making stuff and owning a company. It's hard, but it feels good, and it's very, like I said, it's very rewarding. So I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do, but we need more people starting companies. And again, if a tariff would come in on stuff, it would immediately incentivize more people to start doing that kind of stuff. And we'll see if it happens. It's I don't think it's going to, but I think the corporations will probably get their way, if I have to be completely honest. Okay. All right, we got BLM here. All right, you're back again. Let's hear from you. Okay, hold on. We'll go back to test user. So you've been having for a long time, but it's now becoming more apparent. Yeah, I think everyone is wide awake, and I think the tariff discussion is been fantastic to at least kind of open up. Like, I would have never talked about this stuff. I just went about my business and, you know, made my videos about how to make furniture and worked on my company and just worked on, you know, making furniture because what I love to do. You know, but now that the tariff discussion has come up, I've got so many people that I've heard from that are at least talking, you know, and it's bringing up that conversation amongst people. And it's always going to be good if people are willing to talk about anything, you know, to be quite honest. So yeah, it's been for a long time. All right, BLM, let's keep yapping about the then. Why are you on here? Why am I on here? Because I can be, BLM. And yeah, why not? You know, it's like if you got a stream, I'll come watch your stream. You let me know. Put it down here. Let me know when your stream's going on, and I'll come and watch your stream, and we'll see how you do. Yeah, because the truth is that talking is very difficult. It's very difficult to get on here and carry on a continuous conversation. I don't know if people understand that. I hope people kind of respect that. It's very difficult to talk and not go, let me think, and like, well, what do I really, and then it's like, oh, I get on here, like. It's not easy, I promise. It's quite difficult to talk, and the truth is that, you know, the things like ums and ands and as, and that stuff's really hard to avoid from doing that. So a lot of this is actually practice, and it'll take a lot of time to get this stream going and to get people to follow it. But as you see, I think I've got like 3,500 people at this point that subscribe, and it started from nothing, right? And it's just like my furniture company. It started from nothing. The paint company started from nothing. You know, the paint company started in a house with a 1.5 car garage in Creve Coeur, Missouri, and now it's, you know, 12,000, you know, 20,000 capacity, and that's how things work, you know. So I always find it interesting when people just, you know, they've got not a lot of constructive things to say, and the truth is that you should try yourself, you know, because that's really what we all need to do. I think if more people, you know, had to go out and start their own businesses and do their own things and get out in front of people and let other people judge them, it would change how we talk to each other and how we kind of interact, because we realize, like, oh man, this is kind of tough, you know, like, oh, I appreciate this person doing that thing, or I respect what that person's doing, or like when people make furniture, like most people kind of respect and kind of understand the work that it goes into making a piece of furniture or building a car or whatever, making a dress. Like, I mean, I don't wear a dress, but I certainly can appreciate when someone can make it. I mean, I mad respect, right? You know, so anyway, I think it's a good thing. So BLM, do your stream, put it on here so we can all go see it, and we'll go check it out, you know, and we'll see what you're talking about and how you do, and we'll go in and we'll critique you. So all right, you keep yapping, blah blah. We'll go more, see. Go feel content and reward in your shop. Go feel content. Okay, well, did you not learn how to spell? Like, what do you got your fingers stuck together? You can't type? What's going on here? My guess is that you probably meant film, right? Yeah, so I got lots of shop content. If you go on the YouTube channel, you'll see I've got all kinds of content in my shop making furniture, and it's not the entertaining type though. It's more of the educational type, you know, so most of people on here actually like that entertaining stuff. They're not really trying to learn. They're more to be entertained, which is fine. I'm not doing that. I'll try to be a little entertaining on the cast, but I make videos to show people how to do things. That's really what I'm wanting to do, because I want more people to do this. I don't want to be funny to entertain people. I want people to go out and do stuff. That's really what I'm hoping happens. Okay, more stuff. Inappropriate laughter. Okay, who? I don't know who. Okay, I'm not sure what you're saying there. Inappropriate laughter. BLM. Okay, imagine feeling it necessary to deny wearing dresses. Yeah, I know. You know, I gotta try and have some kind of integrity though. I gotta put up a good image, right? And I gotta put up. I'm a man's man, you know. Anyway, so see, we're at 58 minutes. So yeah, I've almost got my hour in. I'll go through a few more comments. Hit the like button. Again, Eric Wilkin, owner of Resplendent Crow here in St. Louis, Missouri with my wife, and we make boutique furniture. We high gloss lacquer, paint furniture. We have a very well-known coating that we put on wood. We build a lot of furniture specifically to be painted, which is a whole other discussion. Making furniture to be painted is very different than making furniture to be stained. You know, so that might be a cool video. I should probably make that video sometime. But it's good business if these tariffs do come in, which they probably won't. But if they do, you're going to want to be able to sell vintage stuff because there's no tariff on that, and adding value to it will be fairly cheap, and you can sell that kind of stuff, and it's a good way to make money. Again, we started this company selling vintage furniture. If you can make furniture, I talked earlier in the cast about just how you can do it in your garage, and somebody asked, well, how do you make high quality furniture? And again, I laid it out there. It doesn't take much. There's so many used tools today, especially if you go on like Facebook Marketplace. There are so many good table saws. People talk trash on like Grizzly tools and even like Rigid tools. Like, I think all those tools are great. I started an entire company with a Rigid table saw. So there's lots of good tools out there to use. But you do need a good planer, you need a good joiner, and you need a good table saw, and some kind of badass router and an oscillating spindle sander. And a lot of people say, well, all I got is a circular saw, and I've heard there's some guy like that, it's like 731 or something like that, woodworking. That guy talks like that. He's another one of these guys. Like, again, go on that guy's YouTube page. He talks about how to start a furniture company. Do you see any furniture? Nope. Sells no furniture. Because truth is, making furniture is really hard, and that's why I do this cast. I'm not trying to tell you guys to go start a furniture company and then, make all your money on sponsorships and content. Making furniture, you can do it, and it's a great way to make a living. It's very rewarding, and it's okay. So anyway, I probably got to get off stuff. I appreciate all the love, people. Let's see, we'll go through the comments real quick, and then like I said, I got my hour in, which is kind of what I want to do. Again, try to do this game kind of like an hour a day, learn to talk, trying to do the ums and the pauses and stuff like that. Say yaps, dude, yaps like a board. Yeah, got it. Inappropriate laughter. Again, let me know when your stream is up, and we'll all go check it out. I'd love to kind of see what you're talking about, because I love watching what other people do. It's fantastic. So by all means, please let us know. Put it in the comments, and I'll talk about it. All right, we've got Frost. Do you own slaves? No, I don't own slaves. I actually pay my people pretty well. I've talked about that many times. We try not to do that. I've hired all different kinds of people. Like, I think over the years at this point, so I've probably hired and fired maybe 100 people, like a lot, and all different walks of life, rich people, poor people, black, white, brown, green, yellow, blue, like the gamut, the entire gamut. People, I get people that come in, they want to sand furniture with bachelor's degrees. Let me figure that one out. Get people that, it just runs the gamut. The truth is that the 7 employees that I have, most of them have worked for me for over 5 years. So I've been in business for 8. So that I think is pretty good. I hope that people hear that and they think, well, that's kind of cool. Like this guy might be kind of a goofball, but clearly people like working for him, and he retains people, which I think is a good thing. So anyway, I hope that people kind of understand that. All right, we got more. Yeah, inappropriate laughter. Yep. Well, wait, dude. Like, let us know. Like, where can we? What time's the stream? Let us know what we're talking about. Everyone wants to know. Why do you love Trump? Who's this? This is Jeeper 1969. I don't know that I love Trump per se. Here's the thing. I've been through 3 major downturns in the economy: 9/11, the Great Financial Crisis, and God dang it, there was one more of them. I'm drawing a blank. There was one more. Anyway, point is that all of those, and then of course all the presidents, the Bushes, the Clintons, the frickin' oh God, Obama, Biden, Trump, all of them. And truth is that we've done fine under all of them. The president of the administration doesn't have a ton to do with your ability to make money, but this one's kind of crazy, right? Like this whole tariff thing, it could be wild, especially when you have so many people that are making their stuff overseas, right? So like that's what the stream is about. The stream is about making stuff here. And I hope that this kind of resonates with people, because I don't know if there's a lot of content. Usually you got some suit, some guy was talking about finances. Those seem to get a lot of traffic. You got people talking, about the real estate, and you got a lot of people, they got the desk, and they're set up to do like a full cast and everything, and that's cool. But I don't see a lot of people in the business of furniture making talking about the furniture making business. They're usually the people that are in my business, they make videos about making a piece of furniture, and then you go on their website to buy that piece of furniture, and it's not available, right? You can buy the drawing for it. You can, maybe get some better help, or maybe a VPN. Maybe you can buy a knife. I see that. I see a lot of hoodies and like koozies and things like that, but no furniture. So again, I hope this is different. That's kind of what I'm aiming to do. All right, what else we got here? So yeah, the Trump thing, it's neither here nor there. Let's see here. That's over at Frost. Okay, what is overrated? What's overrated? I'm very curious. All All right, Laura says, ignore the jerks, keep doing it. Yeah, and that's what we're going to do. We're just going to keep putting it out there. There's a guy I follow. You guys may know this guy. He's called The Uneducated Economist. And he's kind of the guy that I look at what he does, and that's kind of what I want to do with this. He just gets on like an hour a day, you know, and sometimes he'll come out on the weekends, and he just talks about the economy and the economics. And the guy works retail selling plywood and selling, you know, 2x4 studs and 2x6s and 2x10s, framing materials and things like that. But he does a cast during the day. And I think it's really cool, you know, because he's a guy that he's not some expert. He just works retail, works in the lumber industry, and then he talks about the economics and lumber. And it's really cool, you know. So I want to talk about the woodworking business, furniture making specifically, and probably paint. But I'm doing it as someone who never graduated high school. I didn't go to college. I just busted my ass and figured it out slowly but surely. But you got to work your butt off. Like you're probably not going to get rich, you know, but you can have a nice middle class life, and maybe you can get rich. But it's a good way to make money, I think. And I think more people need to know that you can do the stuff. You don't have to be some special kind of person. You just got to work really hard and keep throwing shit against the wall. Something is going to stick, and then you move in that direction until, you know, you see a better way to move. And that's really all there's to it. So, all right, ignore the jerk. Keep going. Thank you, Laura. I appreciate that. We got BLM cucked. Yep. Amazing. Cherry Street for a second. I bet I could find it. My street. Well, I can't. I guess I kind of live. I get the Mississippi River back here. So just, you know, Google Earth Mississippi River and Illinois, and I'm right along there. So that's pretty easy. All right, Ben Hack, BLM, give address, come and play. No, people are just so funny. And BLM, like, dude, come to St. Louis. You know, like I said, the Resplendent Crow, it's the business, and that goes for anybody. I say this to everybody that watches my streams. And you guys ever want to come to St. Louis, Google the Resplendent Crow. Our address is there. We're not hard to find. We're a legitimate business. And just tell me you follow us on YouTube. I would love to come show you guys our factory and how we make things and how we paint things and just the back end of making a company, you know, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to talk about, you know, doing a furniture company, doing a paint company, you know, as a normie, right? You don't need investor money, you know, it would be nice, but you can literally start in a garage, because that's what we did. And that's all we're talking about here, okay? All right, Ben Hack, more. Damn, dude. Oh, you're out in Cali, okay. I grew up in Oregon, man. We went down to, California. Where's California? Anyway, I'm not gonna go there. Sometimes I miss the West Coast, but not all the time. All right, you're about to become a statistic. Yeah, BLM, you need a hobby, man. You need a girlfriend. Okay, he's talking about me. My address he wanted. I reported him. YouTube's so funny like that. Okay, so a few more comments. So you got Laura Moore. I went to college, did taxes, business owner, and money. I get it. And yeah, Laura, you've been on here. I think you've mentioned that before. And college is fantastic. Like if you're a really smart person, I think that you should absolutely go to college. And honestly, I think that we the citizens should pay for it, because we want smart people to get smarter, right? This idea that you can send dumb people to college and that they're going to get smarter, that's the part that I think is overrated. And a lot of people don't like to hear that, but it's easy to tell somebody that all you got to do is go to college, and then you're going to get an amazing desk job, and you're going to get super rich while they're shoving the jobs that you normally would be doing off to another country, right? And that's really what they did. They're like, oh, look over here, college, money, fame, fortune, and then they're shoveling all the jobs over here to China, right? And then when you get to work, you're like, hey, boss, where's my money? They're like, well, I'm going to get paid because I sent all the production over to China, and I get paid based on the profits of my company, and I made a lot more money by sending your jobs overseas. It's messed up, man. It's so messed up. And we just need more people to have small business here in America, and it's really going to help turn the tide. But man, I don't know how we do that. The only way I know to do it is just talk about it and try and explain to people that it can be done, and that's it. You know, like it can be done, and it's not a pipe dream. America's the place. And the funny thing, so another quick story. So my wife's from India, and of course all her family is from India. Shocker. Anyway, she lives here, her brother lives here, her mom stays with us off and on throughout the year, and then stays with her brother throughout the year. And anyway, they talk about America like it's the most amazing place on earth. Like everybody in the country of India that's anybody, your goal in life is to get to America. And I don't think we in America understand this enough. Like we don't appreciate what we have here because we don't know enough people in the third world that really really have lived a different life than we lived here in America. Like we kind of almost take it for granted how that we have running water all the time, that power is on all the time. Like today, there's still you only get power like 10 or 12 hours a day in India, right? Which is crazy. Like you can't even imagine that, But there's places that in the world today where it's the stuff we take for granted here doesn't exist, and when we send the work of that we do here in America that makes this country so great, we send all that work to third world countries, every time we do that, it makes us a little bit more like that. And I know that people might not agree with me about that necessarily, but point is that we have a lot of opportunity here and a lot of people squander it. And the truth is that we can do anything here. Like we are bound by nothing. We have access to the best of everything 24 hours a day, and it's a great place to live, and more people need to understand that you can do it. It's really important. So anyway, I know I'm probably going long, guys. Okay, Laura, I appreciate coming in here and participating in the conversation. And it's funny you did taxes. My parents were in taxes, did taxes. A company called Kennedy & Co. in Wichita, Kansas, and did taxes for a very long time. And they were very successful. And they retired early, and it was very good to them. So I hope that they were able to do the same thing. All right, Ben Hacks back. California is hellhole. Weather is only reason. Yeah, I know. I'm always hesitant to talk shit on anything. It's generally not wise, especially when you never know who's watching. But yeah, California's it's the most beautiful state in America. I mean, bar none. It's so beautiful. Like I lived in Oregon most of my life, and I love Oregon. Oregon's gorgeous, but like you said, the weather is so perfect. There's something about that region that is just, and you got the mountains are right there. Like I spent a much time in New Zealand, and New Zealand reminded me a lot of California, just with less people, But yeah, California is amazing. I hope that they get it figured out there, and it goes back to the way it was when I grew up in that area in the 90s. So anyway, that's all I'll say about that. All right, I suggest you Google the first naturalization act in America. Okay. Well, BLM, you have a great time with whatever you're doing. And again, let us know when you're doing your next cast. We'd love to hear what you have to say and contribute to your conversation. But I'm guessing you're not going to have too much to say. But I appreciate you hanging out and adding to the discussion. And like I said, everyone will continue to do this. I think my next discussion is going to be, I titled it, I titled it F Scaling. I just want to have a business, right? And this is, again, if we look on YouTube and we look on where people talk about growing a business, everyone always like, you got to scale, you got to scale, you got to scale. And what we're going to talk about in that discussion is we're going to talk about how you scale a woodworking business, and I will talk specifically about how I tried and failed big time to scale my business. It cost me an insane amount of money. Like I said, I'll talk to you guys all about that on my next cast, and I'm going to talk about trying to scale a company with digital products and physical products, and why nobody wants to scale a company with physical products. It's too damn hard, and these tariffs may help us to be able to do that. But right now, everyone's trying to scale digital everything. That's why you see so many people selling bullshit on YouTube. The furniture makers don't make furniture. They sell courses, they sell advertising, they sell, boner pills, they sell, VPN services. They sell anything but furniture, because the truth is you got to actually produce it. And then you're subject to all America's regulations, occupational safety and health, EPA, transportation, tort, all these kind of things, and nobody wants to do that, And so that's the real problem in America. And we'll talk more about that on my next cast, but I believe it's tomorrow. And then Friday we show people what's in the shop. We walk through the shop, we look at all the pretty furniture, and we do see what else we're gonna do. We'll talk about what went well, what didn't go well, and all those kind of things. And I look forward to showing everyone what we got going on, because it was a busy week. We got China cabinets. I've got a China cabinet that got completely trashed that I had to fix. I'll talk about that. That was a $7 million home where I had to go in. That was a very uncomfortable situation. If people remind me, I will talk about that. That sucks, man. Going into somebody's home when you've dropped the ball multiple times is not comfortable. It's very uncomfortable. So we'll talk about that, and I'm gonna come with some more. So there's all kinds of things to talk about. So everyone have a fantastic day, and yeah, Henry, thanks, man. Henry Mack, I appreciate you guys hanging out, and like I said, just listening to me, shoot the shit about making furniture. I know it's not for everybody. It's never going to be this thing that everyone's going to want to watch, but it's important to me, and I hope the people that watch it, kind of understand that, like, you can't own a business. You don't have to be some stupid wealthy person to do a cast or make videos. It's just normal people doing normal stuff, and that's all it is. So everybody have a great day, and yeah, catch y'all later.